Good morning, everyone. I guess almost good afternoon. Welcome to Seesaw Support for Comprehensive Distance Learning, and this is actually Seesaw Updates. So hopefully you are here for the right course. We have a number of people hopping in our course, so we'll wait just a moment, but while we're waiting, I do have a bit.ly address right there for you to hop into this slide deck. And I will get started momentarily. I'll go ahead and share that link with you as well. Okay, looks like we have more and more people joining in the document. So again, I just put the link right in the chat, or you can simply type this bit.ly address, and it is case sensitive. So make sure that the CDL and the S for Seesaw are all capitalized, and it will give you access to this admittedly ridiculously big slide deck. That's kind of how my brain works. I'd rather give you way more information and a place for you to come back to later. So we have a few more people joining us. I keep hitting that. Apologize for that. My friend Kristen McCartney is helping us to facilitate the chat since there are quite a few participants here today. So I'm going to go ahead and ask if you can please put any questions into the chat. That would be awesome. So I will go ahead and use that chat box, and I'm hoping at the end I have some time for some questions, but we will see. There's not quite as much to cover in this class, so I'm hopeful that it'll work out. In case you don't know who I am, my name is Carrie Kunert, and I've been a teacher in Beaverton, way long time, 20 plus years, and I've most recently been out of the classroom in a TOSA role, working with the Future Ready team, and then with our reading, as a reading literacy specialist. And now I am back on the digital curriculum team due to remote learning, because we have quite a heavy lift in front of us. So I am the elementary support for distance learning. So I'm going to slide down one more slide here. I'm on slide number 3 if you're following along with me. I wanted to let you know that I taught 3 different courses during this PD on the Patio. The first one was Seesaw Basics, and that was to do all of these skills up here at the top, and here's a recording of that session if you missed that and would like to see it. And I also taught a Seesaw Intermediate to Advanced course that covered these skills, and that recording is listed right here. For Seesaw Updates, that's the one that we're doing right now, and I'm going to cover these items as well as some brand new updates. So I wanted to make sure that you knew about those other courses. This slide deck is, it's ridiculously big, and I get that. And you're definitely not going to need everything that's on there, but as I find resources, I just stuck them on there for you so that you would have access. So whenever if you decide, hey, you know what, I want to learn how to do that. Carrie had some examples. There you go. They're all here for you. So I'm going to slide down to the table of contents. I created a table of contents here to link for you many things that you may want to learn about. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to hop into Seesaw, and I'm going to do some demos for you. But I'm going to start down here. Whoopsie. I'm going to start down here in the Seesaw Updates for the fall, this new section with the bright, what color is that? Pink and purple flashing little icon. So Seesaw Updates for the fall. If you click right there, it should hopefully take you all the way down to slide 63. So that's just like a little table of contents for you. Beautiful. So that is where I'm going to be talking from with all of the updates. So if you can get all the way down to slide 63, or if you're not on the slide deck, you certainly don't have to be. You can just watch if you'd like to. And I know some people like to play alongside. So if you want to have Seesaw open as you watch what I'm doing, you are certainly welcome to join in there. Okay, Here we go. Seesaw, the platform, was not designed for comprehensive distance learning. It is not a learning management system. It is a portfolio. It is a way for students, a journal, right? It's a way for students to gather all of their thinking and reflect upon that thinking, show their process, and for students and parents to interact and share like a window into the classroom. When last spring happened, we jumped into Seesaw and started using it as a learning platform. So Seesaw quickly and responsively, when they had the opportunity after they dug themselves out of that initial push, they decided to make some updates that would make our lives easier when we're using it for this purpose, for comprehensive distance learning. And I know a number of you gave feedback saying this part is not as effective as it could be, and wouldn't it be great if we had a this, and this could be better. So Seesaw actually was incredibly responsive, and they went and made a number of different updates. So I'm going to talk about each of those updates right now. I'm going to start with the first update. So they had like multiple rounds of updates, and the newest one is actually not going live until the 14th. So I'll talk about that one, but I obviously won't be able to demonstrate all of those things because they're not live yet. But I'll start with the first update that happened last spring. And this is slide 64 if you're following along. So these are the things that Seesaw did kind of urgently, realizing that these were some of the things that our teachers really were needing to have in comprehensive distance learning. So the first one, I'm going to hop into Seesaw to go ahead and show these, the ability to add videos. So if I'm in Seesaw, and I just have a little pretend class here, I don't actually have my own class, so it's kind of sad. I have one student. I'm going to hop into add, and I'm going to create an activity for my class. So I'm going to assign this activity here. And I'm going to, just for the sake of being nice and quick, you used to be able to add a video, but video was separate from putting something right inside of the drawing feature. So they have added the ability to add something right inside of Draw. And actually, I will just show you over here faster. I'm going to go here to post student work. Okay, I'm going to just hop into Draw really quickly. And this drawing app is really, to me, it's one of the best features about Seesaw, absolutely. There is a new ability right here down at the bottom, these little 3 dots. It now has the ability to link something, right? So you can link things, which we'll talk about when we do choice boards, but right here, you have the ability to, you used to be able to add a photo, now you can add a video. So that's super, super handy that you can put a video right there inside your drawing. So instead of me trying to only give audio instructions, I can record video instructions to my class. So I've got my little screen here, and it counts me down just like normal. And talk about humanizing, here's me. All right, guys, hey, how are you doing today? We're going to do blah, blah, blah. I'm giving you instructions. You see my face, which is such a nice touch during this distance learning time. So I can record that video right there. I can pause it if I needed to. I can say that I am done. And it just compresses that awesome video, super flattering shot there, of me into a little video. And I can manipulate it. So here are your instructions. I'm going to slide my little instructions off to the side for you to be able to see. I could add multiple videos for if I wanted to of myself, right? So I could add more than one video right there. I could add photos, I could add videos, but we haven't been able to do that before. So that part is super, super awesome. And so if I decide, I guess, if I wanted to, right, I could tell you step 2. So it says, oh, good. I can only do 1 video per page. Thanks for reminding me of that, Seesaw. So if I wanted to give instructions on page 1, beautiful, there's me giving you face-to-face instructions. I could do the same thing by adding an additional page down here on the right, and I believe I can add a second video to the next page. So, okay, here's me on page 2, right? I'm telling you whatever I need to do on page 2 right here. I could record a video. Now, I know some teachers struggled with the 5-minute maximum video allowance, so specifically for read aloud. I know that that was an issue. So perhaps you're reading aloud right here. You could do it in chapter chunks or 5-minute chunks or portions of the story and stop. And you could have the kids interact, right? So I read this first portion of the story and then I have some sort of a question or something that I want them to do, right? Like pretending this is a beautiful question. Something that I want them to do, draw your favorite part, tell the 3 characters that what, you know, whatever. I could have the story embedded right here with the question. So that part is brand new that you're able to do that. And I believe you are allowed to have up to 20 pages here along the right-hand side. So you could do, gosh, what's 20 times 5? Yeah, right? You could have a super, super long video that the kids, you don't necessarily want to do that in terms of best practice for kids to sit and listen that long. But it certainly does help with that 5-minute lesson recording that we previously had. So that is how you could insert, and under the little 3 dots underneath, I could do all kinds of things. I could lock it in place so the kids can't delete my spectacular video or duplicate it, or I could link it to something. So if I wanted to link that video to something else or an image, I'm gonna go ahead and delete it because it was not amazing. So that is one thing, the ability to add videos right inside of drawing. The next one is the ability to insert multiple links. So I preface that right here, right down here, you have the ability now to add a link right in there. And I know that a number of people were really making some pretty spectacular choice boards. And choice boards are just a whole bunch of options for the kids to explore on a specific topic. So you'd likely have the topic up here that we were going to be discussing, and then you'd have a number of options for the kids to interact with. Now, let's pretend I'm doing one on alphabetical order, right? So I happen to have this spectacular video from YouTube here on ABC order. I just copied the link to that YouTube video by doing my Command C keystroke when I had it selected. If I go back into Seesaw and I use these 3 dots right here and I touch the link key, I can paste that with my Command V on my laptop and it will automatically generate for me a little screenshot of the video, and it's live linked for the kids. So they would actually be taken to YouTube. It unfortunately does not play inside of Seesaw. So I know that's a bummer, but send kids to YouTube, but we can talk about a workaround there if you're interested. And I can make this guy smaller, right? So, okay, the topic is ABC order. There's one of their options that I want them to do. Again, if I wanted to, I could lock it down so kids couldn't mess around with it. So there we go. I have this awesome video that they can watch. Let's see here. ABC has a great game here on alphabetical order. So I'm going to copy that web address. I'm going to hop back into Seesaw and I'm going to add another link. So I'm going to just paste that little link in there. And again, it's going to generate, it's going to take me to that website, right? So this is not a video, this is taking directly to a website. So they're going to hop in there and play that free ABC game that has to do with ABC order. I could have a number of different things right here, right inside of Seesaw. Now I know a number of people were creating choice boards in Google Slides, and you're certainly welcome to continue doing that. But this is just maybe a little bit faster and simpler. I don't have to import anything. I can build it right here. And if it doesn't look very attractive to you, you have the option to include background behind, right? So, okay, is that looking, oh, already better. Way better. Yes, blue, perfect. Right? And you can mess around. You have options here to mess around with the style of what you want. Your, ooh, okay, that's very official. The color and all those things, you can mess around here and make sure that you like the way that your title and your font looks. You can shrink it or enlarge it, right? And you can play, if you grab these side arrows here, you can make it smaller that way as well. So that's a super nice, easy, fast way to make a choice board for kids. Now, if this were an activity that I was having them complete on the second page, I could have them do something with that information, right? So maybe the directions are to explore the choice board. And then on this page, I want you to share what you learned. I want you to do a drawing of the solar system, you know, whatever it is. I guess that was alphabetical order. That wasn't a spectacular example. They could put some words in alphabetical order, right? You could have some labels right here for them to manipulate. And if you just go ahead and insert the text right here and you had different words here, And let's see, I probably shouldn't put them in alphabetical order. Right, you could create these movable lists, and you could have directions on their spectacular little video, and you ask the students to put them in alphabetical order. Right? Like that's the simplest level. You could make it, I'm sure, way fancier than that. So I wanted to make sure that you saw that how easy it is to create a choice board right inside of Seesaw now. And it was not quite as easy before. Now, if you're looking at this going, well, you know what, I can add way more in Google Slides to jazz it up. That is true. It doesn't have quite the capability that Google Slides has, but you can also just insert, and I just like have, goodness, I have an arrow here, right? I could insert this arrow, right? I'd have to find one without a background. I didn't do that very well, but pretending I had found a beautiful one with a transparent background, you could have a progression or add fun things. You could add, my gosh, you know, everybody wants a Bitmoji now, so I could have a spectacular Bitmoji and I could make her face the correct way and pretend she's pointing to this awesome activity about alphabetical order. So you could insert things to make it more fun. And again, if I had inserted transparent images, they would look better without the white background showing right there. So I've got that. I've got this place for kids to interact on this choice board. Hopefully you've seen this feature up here on the right, and this is draft, and I'll talk about this a little bit more in the newest updates that are coming, but this is, I'm not quite finished with this activity, Mrs. Cunard. I want to come back to it. If I click draft, it's going to stay in that, let's see here, I haven't actually done it yet because I don't really have a class. So let's pretend I'm not done with that and I want to come back to it. I would leave it in that draft stage. So that is a quick rundown on how you would insert multiple links and how you could go ahead and create a choice board, again, right inside of Seesaw, which is awesome, awesome, awesome. All right, so let's pretend I have this spectacular thing that's done. Yes, I'm good. Oh, you can choose what students you want to send it to. I did kind of blow by that. If you only wanted to send it, like differentiate to specific students, specific reading groups, specific whatever, right? I could just choose the kids that I wanted to send it to. And I can also organize folders for them, which is heaven to me because I don't want to have to go find all of their activities in different places. So if I can force this activity, we're going to call that reading. I'm going to make that go into their reading folders automatically for them so kids don't need to do that. So there we go. That activity is all set up, spectacular, ready to go. It's going to go into that reading folder. Let's see here. It's generating. Oh, gorgeous. Look at that. Beautiful. Right? So that was an awesome, awesome, fast way to show how you could do that inside of drawing. Now, if I'm a student, and I'm going to be my sample student, the next thing on our list is a new ability to draw and record across pages. And previously, you have had the microphone feature. Students have had access to the microphone, but they were only able to record on each page. So if I'm going to hop in this writing checklist here really quickly, and I'm going to pretend to be sample student, and I am responding to this writing checklist. When I'm ready, let's pretend I'm on this page right here. When I hit record, instead of forcing me to stay on this page and only do a recording for this page, I can actually just keep talking. So it's going to record me, and you haven't been able to do this previously. So I'm a student and I'm talking through why I chose to do these things really nicely on my peer editing, and this is what my partner said about it, blah, blah, blah. And here's how I did. See how I can just go right to the next page and you'll notice that the recording continued. Okay, these are the things I have included. Oh, you have yet to determine that, right? I could be talking through this and recording the whole thing. So in my 6th grade, ooh, I made sure that I had a transition. Yay, good for me. All right, so there it goes. When I finally hit done, you'll notice that instead of having a recording that that you need to go listen to on each page, it actually creates a brand new slide up at the top, and it has the recording for the student, and I'll go up here. So this is my recording for the whole thing. So I could listen to this. So I'm a student really and awesome I'm talking recording, through right? Why I chose to do these. Yeah, I could listen to that awesome recording of me doing all of those pages. Now it does turn it into a video. So I have this teeny tiny little video here, right? So you could, there's the student's work. You could make it tiny if you wanted to, and they could add their reflection or whatever. So it does pull it up to the top page, which as a teacher for when I go back and look through all of that work, I don't have to click on the video for every single little page and every little thing they said, right? If they read a story to me across 8 pages, I could have on video me seeing all 8 pages of the story and hearing it all at once, which is a huge, huge time saver. So that ability to draw and record across pages, and you'll notice that while I was recording the video, I was able to draw. So I could have been changing pens, and I could have been erasing, and I could have been doing things like that if I wanted to. So I could have been explaining my math thinking, right, across multiple pages in one little video. So let's say check that I'm done. Beautiful. And just like before, that sends it to my teacher. My teacher is able to take a look at how I did on that work, right? So when the teacher looks over at their activities, my work is pulling up. My really, really fabulous work explaining my writing process is pulling up there for the teacher to see right within activities. So I don't know about you, but I can imagine the sheer number of posts that you had or number of videos that you'd have to have when you were looking over all of that for that many kids. So I look here in my responses, and there it's generating a cute little thumbnail of all the responses from every student in my class for this specific assignment. And it's just taking a while to think about that. And I have actually attached a skill, so I could go ahead and score it right there for my students. So those are the previous features. Oh, and there's one more that I can't really show you very well. They improved the viewing on mobile devices. So sometimes the page orientation wasn't great when parents tried to watch things on their phone or on an iPad or something that didn't have a regular computer screen orientation. So they have improved that viewing for parents. So that is handy dandy. But all right, I'm hopping back into my slide deck. And I am going to go ahead through the brand new updates and talk about those quickly. And again, I can't show them all to you. I can't show them to you because they don't actually go live until the 14th. So what would that be, Friday? Right? So they would go live on Friday. And here are some of the I wrote right here that they will happen automatically on the web version. So right now I am on the internet. I'm on the internet version of Seesaw on my teacher laptop. So you should be able to see them automatically on the 14th. If you are using Seesaw on your teacher iPad or a different iPad, that app may need to be updated. So we are in talks with IT to make sure that devices, student devices or teacher devices get that automatically updated. So just wanted to make sure if you're on the 14th, you're like, what, Carrie, it's not updated. It should be on again, the web version. Okay, this one might be the one I'm the most excited about. Starting on Friday, you're able to create a student link. Now, ooh, that was fun. That sounds like an audience participation right there. All right, so creating a student link, we haven't been able to do this before. So if you have a specific activity and you're in that activity menu there, let's see here, I want to assign an activity to my class. We have had all kinds of options to share an activity, but we haven't been able to link it directly for students. So I'm imagining that if you have perhaps a Google slide where you say what your workflow is for that day, and here are some choice boards I found in that community. So let's see here, I'm gonna grab this guy right here and I wanna share it. You touch these little 3 buttons over here, and right now, these are my options. I can add it to my collection, I can share it, there we go, share. Now, right now, I can share it to the library if I want to. I could email it to my friends, social media. I can get this teacher link, which is the one I link for you when I put things in like a writing planner or whatever, so you can get access to it, or you can embed it, but we haven't had a student link. So now there will be a student link button right here. And that student link is just so incredibly fabulous. So it's gonna be right here. You're able to get that student link, and you are able to then, you could link it directly on like your week plan. So you could say, Monday, I want you to do blah, blah, and blah. When you said that, you could go ahead and link it. So the kids don't have to, okay, she said some reading activity, then I hop into Seesaw and I'm not sure which reading activity. They would be able to have a direct link into the activity that you wanted them to do. So that is super, super, super spectacular. And I think will make life much simpler for students and parents, that they can have that that announcement, right? You could just send it directly in announcements in Seesaw, and you could have it linked to your specific activity, which is helpful for navigation. Another thing, and I'm on slide 67 if you're following along. Another thing that we're able to do is there were kids that had work that was like right in progress. Some was done, some they still had to do, and it was kind of hard to figure out in the activity menu what they still had to complete. So Seesaw has added in there 3 different menus. They can see all the activities that they still have to do. It has been assigned, but they haven't completed it yet. They can see their work that they currently have in progress. So those are drafts that they have, like they've started. And that is also where your send back responses go. So if the teacher sends it back and says, ooh, please add this or make sure that you do this, those would go in the in progress. And then finally in done. So activities that have been totally completed, students are able to see in done as well. And normally they disappeared, and it got kind of more difficult again for them to navigate. So I really like this feature that students will be able to on their end see, okay, parents, right? What do we have left to do? What do you have partially done? And what is all the way completed? So that part is going to be fabulous. Another new feature is that you are able to filter by folder in the activities tab. So when you are in your activities, like I just was, now up at the top, you will have the ability to search and filter by subject area folder. So if you have created a folder called math and you only want to find the activities that are related to math, then you would just click right here, pull up the math folder, and you'd only see the activities that were related to math. Now they're saying that you can create up to 100 different folders, not necessarily that you'd want 100 different folders, but you certainly could have things pretty nicely organized in there. You could have everything from one science unit, right? Not just the word science. You could specifically have the BAT unit or whatever it is. You could have the it more narrowed down so you were able to find things more simply here. So the fact that you can filter up there, you could ask them to see up here as an example, show me all the activities that we have left to do in geometry, right? Or show me the activities that are scheduled to come in reading. So you need to make sure that you have folders set up in order for this part to work, but that filtering is awesome. Let's see, what's next? I feel like a game show host or something, like an infomercial. All right, let's see here. Oh, yeah, yay, more good things. And I don't work for Seesaw, by the way, if you were wondering. The next one is you can actually print an activity with QR code for students. Now you've been able to print a QR code to showcase work, like if you wanted to put it on a bulletin board or share with parents or whatever, you've been able to do that previously, like a post that they've already done to show their book, right? You've been able to print that QR code. And if you're not sure how to do that, at the bottom of anything that they've done, there's this little 3 dots and you've been able to find the code there. But this new feature is that you're actually able to take any activity that you've created and you are able to get a printable version of this. So you have this little activity right here and you can, this is kind of like converted, right? It changes it into a PDF. It has all of your instructions that you previously had in your little activity over here, and it has this QR code link that will link the students directly to the activity. So if you needed to print out a packet, right, or something, and you wanted to reference the specific Seesaw activity, this would be the way to do that. So down here, there's now an option, again on the 14th, that says print activity. And of course, you don't physically need to print it. You could just generate this direction sheet and the QR code, and you could screenshot that and put it into communication or an email or something like this is the activity that they need to complete or whatever it is. So that again is another new feature. Or if you're sending a packet home with a student who has limited access, it's like, okay, here you go. Here are just the things that you need to complete. So that is new as well. But wait, there's more, right? All right, so I'm all the way down on slide 70, and this is how to show all responses in the activity grid. So previously, students have only been able to put one activity, one response in there, and now they can go ahead and do multiple activities and multiple responses. So you can see in here all of the different things that they have submitted to you. So that's a pretty cool feature if you want that for some, daily check-in or something like that you're doing. And it also puts at the top there what step the student is in, right? Like if it's been fully submitted or if it's in draft mode or whatever, you can actually see the status of the class a lot simpler. And I think this is just invaluable for turning in work, right? Like who's missing there? Okay, clearly a lot of kids are missing in this example right here. And finally, the last feature, and one I know that a number of people requested, was the calendar view. So I know that it can be hard to find activities when they get lost in Seesaw World down in that feed, but now they're building it where you can go ahead in activities. When you're in activities, you can look and you can touch this calendar mode. And in calendar mode, the students can see which activities were assigned for which day. So again, I know that you got behind a day or two and it became like, whoa, what? I was only gone this day, or I couldn't check in, or whatever. This can really, really help parents and students to stay organized. Like, okay, you were sick or whatever on the 22nd. Here's what you missed. You can see the link to the 3 activities right there. So it kind of limits for you. So you only see the activities that were assigned on that specific day. And you can also see how many were assigned on that specific day. And again, activities are just the things that you assign to students and that you're expecting them to turn something back into you. So that's the expectation for the calendar view. So again, all of those go live on Friday. And I don't know what time Friday, but worth checking out this weekend or on Monday after you have a nice relaxing weekend, right? Hopefully, checking out and playing with some of those new features. But Seesaw has heard our feedback and made some of these changes so that they think it will be better for students and teachers and more organized and more capability. Okay, Kristen, that was a lot of information. Do we have a question or two, a common theme for questions?
Yeah, Carrie, one of the questions was how we can have students watch videos and keeping them within Seesaw.
Oh, yes, that is okay, absolutely. That is an issue. You can, if you record the video, obviously right inside of Seesaw, you stay within Seesaw. It doesn't go beyond there at all. If you record the video elsewhere and you post it to your own personal YouTube channel, and there will be a course coming up on this topic, and you can make that YouTube channel just personalized for your students only. Another workaround is, and I'm teaching a Google Slides course. It starts this afternoon and it continues into next week. There's a basic, intermediate, and advanced. And to be honest, I would utilize Google Slides. And I'm going to slide to the end of my slide deck here just to demo this for you. And I'm going to create a new slide. The really nice part about this is I can protect kids from YouTube. So I'm going to grab that ABC video that I previously was referencing. So I'm going to copy that video, the YouTube address, and I'm going to go into my slide. I have the option over here to insert. So I'm going to insert this video. And when I insert this video, it automatically assumes I'm in YouTube because that's just the most common. I can pull videos from just the web address somewhere else, or I can pull it directly from my Google Drive if I have a video saved in my Google Drive. But let's pretend it's a YouTube video. I'm going to paste that right there. It's going to find it on YouTube. It says, is that the one you want? I double check. Yep, that's the ABC one I want. I select it. And it's going to put it right inside of this Google slide. Now I can drag it. I probably don't need a title up at the top, but I won't waste our time editing it beautifully. I do have the option over here on the right. This video is only a minute 51, but if I only wanted the students to watch a portion of the video, I can automatically handle that right here. I can tell them to stop at a certain point in time on the video or start at a certain point in time. And I'm going to close that for right now. Now, when it's inside of here, I can actually take this slide, and this is part of a huge slide deck, so it doesn't really work. But if it was the only slide in this slide deck, I could publish it to the web. And when I publish it to the web, essentially what I'm doing is I'm making a website out of this, right? I'm making a link to just this video. Now, right now I have this entire slide deck, so it's not really gonna work for me. But if it was just the only slide in there and I hit publish, I'm not going to because this is a super huge slide deck. I'm gonna get a link, and when I use that link, it's going to only show this one little screen right here. So students can actively touch here, watch it. You could have teacher directions written on the side, and they wouldn't have to go to YouTube. It's a nice little safe filter way that you can share videos. So I hope that was helpful. Any other
Another quick question, Carrie. Some
Yeah.
people were asking about when you are locking items in that one screen, they're asking questions about the text box.
Yes.
Or other things that you lock on the screen. If you lock them, does that mean they lock in place, they are not movable?
I believe that to be true. I believe that you cannot, if anyone knows different, I believe as a teacher, if I lock it, it cannot be modified by students when I'm creating.
And then in order for students to not change text on the screen, you have to lock it.
Yes, or it's just
Okay.
an open text box for them, right? That they could manipulate it as well. Now, I do know a number of people choose to create things perhaps elsewhere. So they create, maybe they create it in Google Slides or something. And instead of creating right inside of Seesaw, they just import it. So if I was giving students a template right down here and creating a new activity, I hopped into activities and I'm making a new activity. If I hit to add a template, and I'm just gonna upload, I happen to have that writing checklist right here on my desktop. So if I slide it in as a template, it essentially becomes the background paper. It's students aren't able to manipulate or change anything when it's in the background. So that's kind of a nice workaround too. If you don't want kids to be able to mess with this, it puts it immediately into the backdrop for you. Other questions?
Carrie, I'm wondering if you can go over the benefit of using a QR code when you can just assign the activities to the students.
The benefit of using a QR code. I'm open to input on this one. Accessibility, right? That's parents could easily, you can grab it from any device. So it's perhaps simpler than clicking that link. Do you have other ideas, Nicole? Well, if it's in a printed paper version, a link would be just really cumbersome, right? Long to have to type in to get access to that Seesaw activity. So it's just like a quick shortcut. You grab it on your device, you hover over, you take a picture of it, and it immediately sends you there without having to type the usually painful web address.
Yeah, I only think about using the QR code when building like a bulletin board or something.
Yeah.
So
It's
yeah,
kind of,
okay.
it's interesting with remote learning, right? Totally a different
Yeah.
spin on. I know.
Along those same lines, Ashley said, well, maybe a parent or a student would want to print it out. And then there was a question of if a student or their parent prints it out, I'm assuming that they then need to take a picture of it to turn it back into their teacher.
No, that would just be the like access to hop into the activity. And then once they were in there, then they would complete the work in Seesaw, or they could watch the video, you know, and write it on paper if they were strictly doing a packet, but you'd still need technology access, right?
Right.
But limited.
Carrie, there was one more question about just how those new links work for activities and what parents and families can see. And then with that is once a kid submitted something, does it disappear off their calendar?
I haven't played with it enough to know if it disappears off their calendar. I'm inclined to think no, because during that, let's see here if I slide up, during that example, it showed, where is it? My goodness. on slide 67, this is like a sneak peek at what these screens are going to look like, again, because they're not active. It shows work that they have yet to do, work that's in progress, and work that is done. So I'm assuming that students are able to hop in here and click and see work that they have completed, but I would assume it stays on the calendar. But again, I haven't had an opportunity to play with that yet, so I'm not 100% sure. Was there a second part to that question?
Just how with those links for assignments, I'm assuming that parents and students can see those too.
On their end, no, that was just in the teacher generated. So the way you can share links. So I would just hot link the text for them, right? Like in your daily announcements, like Monday, do blah, blah, blah. Now go here. I would link it there. So let's pretend it's that great old writing checklist. If I want you to do that writing checklist, and you go to share that activity, again, there will be a student link right here. So when I click teacher link, it takes me to this page right here that's teacher friendly with all the teacher notes, and I can edit it and save it. It won't take you to that. It will take you directly within Seesaw, I believe, directly to that activity. So it cuts out a lot of the navigation, which I know was an issue in the spring when you tell a student, I want you to do this activity, but there was no way to directly funnel them into that specific activity. They had to get in there, get in activities, figure out which reading one you meant, right? If there were 2 for the day. So I think that will just save serious time in my student announcement or whatever, right? Or my slides saying, do this activity. I can push that out to them in Zoom or, whatever, directly to the activity I want them to do right then.
Great, thank you. And I think probably last question that we've got time for is there a way to communicate directly with students through Seesaw other than commenting on their work?
You can do messaging with them. So in your inbox right here, you can send announcements to them. So if I want to create an announcement here, I can send an announcement. The fact that you have we're asking people to toggle off the ability for students to see each other's work. So you could have an announcement go straight to them, right? So I could have an announcement just go to this student. And I could type that announcement here. I could add an attachment. I could give the link to the thing I wanted them to redo right inside of here and just send them an announcement that went directly to them.
May I ask a quick question?
Yeah.
What you just showed goes to all students. That's not individual students. You only have one student in your class, that particular class. You cannot select one individual student, at least you could not before. You could not select one individual student to send like a message to. It was all students. You could do individual families, but you could not do individual students. The only way I could communicate was through a comment on something they'd done, and there was no guarantee that they would see it.
I'm just trying to think out loud here. If they do not see each other's work open, could you post a message to them through student work? Do you know what I mean?
Just a comment on their work. You could not message the student. I had to go into their work and leave like either a recorded message or a typed message. Or I had to contact a parent and ask them to have the student look, or just kind of tell my students to look. There was no way to send an actual message to students unless I sent it to all of them.
I'm wondering
if some people are saying that they used notes, and that's what I did. I would start a new note and send it to just that kid. However, when they would comment back on it, then if I wanted to comment back to them again, I would have to go and search through the journal to find it again.
Yes.
Yeah, that's not real user friendly, huh?
No.
Let's get
that was my biggest that was my number one pet peeve. One was being able to find assignments with which the calendar kind of helps, but it was the communication piece, because once my students got familiar with emailing, it got a lot better.
Yeah.
But there was no way to do it directly through Seesaw.
Yeah, I think that's something that maybe needs to be brought to their attention. I don't know if they would add anything, but I don't really feel comfortable making second graders aware that they have email or that that is a communication device.
Correct. I'm upper level.
They'll be sharing their
so,
emails.
yes.
Yeah, that's no, they have been incredibly responsive. So I will take that feedback to them and hopefully they have something in the works, right, to get that communication piece. But I agree with you. I will share that feedback. And I think, oh darn, our time is up. I'm gonna go ahead and have you slide all the way down to slide 81. Slide 81 is at the very, very bottom there. It's in order to get credit for this course to make sure that you've already registered in Teachersource. And it's this bottom one right here, the Seesaw Updates. If you click right on here, it'll take you right to our self-check-in. So you can check in and make sure that you get credit for attending this or listening to it on video. If you're listening to it on video later, I'll update that link for you so you can get that as well. And slide 82 has feedback. Not just feedback for my presentation, but more importantly, we are really trying to be responsive to your PD needs. And I know that PD on the Patio is just the beginning of the PD that we're going to be providing this year. And we're going to be developing what happens during work weeks, what happens after work week, right? Every Wednesday or whatever. I don't even know how it's going to be structured, but we want to make sure that we are providing the courses that you want and need. So if you don't mind taking a moment to hop in that feedback form and tell us, gosh, Carrie, I'd really love a session on, it doesn't have to be Seesaw related. It could be anything that you're feeling like you need. And I think that's it. I want to thank you for attending. And I appreciate it. Thank you, Nicole and Kristen, for your help. And hope everyone goes and enjoys the sunshine. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.